wished to expand our civic participation and decided that outdoor art was an excellent means to accomplish that goal. An outdoor art committee was formed, and under the strong leadership of KGB board member Catherine Sanders, they started months of work selecting an artist and creating a vision for the type of sculpture that will complement and enhance this beautiful space. In my opinion, the art committee has done a magnificent job with this kinetic tree. The sculpture's majestic stature, its tranquil and silent movements, the way it glistens in the sunlight and its colorful hues at night will further make this park a space of peace, reflection, and enjoyment. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the chair of the Downtown Art Committee and a fellow Keep Gastonia Beautiful board member, Ms. Catherine Sanders.
Hi there. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you this evening, but the most exciting part is to have Ghillie Enchantment here behind us. It has been a pleasure working with our fabulous Keep Gastonia Beautiful Downtown Art Committee. Our committee was comprised of Keep Gastonia Beautiful volunteers as well as other community volunteers who have a real keen interest in the beautification and real dedication to downtown Gastonia. Our committee is made up of, again, as I mentioned, a bunch of great volunteers. So rather than me standing up here and talking to you by myself, I'd like to introduce all of them and have them come up here and join me. Trish Anderson, John Andrigo, Jim Burke, Kirk Butler, Sam Kalush, Jerry Clemens, Nancy Dartnell, Vern Deason, Melissa Fonseca, Joyce Harta, Mike Holder, Pat Johnson, Charlie Pearson, Amy Satterfield, Juliet Shelley, Renee Southern, and Missy Turney. If you all would, please join me in giving this great committee a round of applause. Our job started off actually very easily because Pat Johnson called up and said, we are the lucky recipients of several grants and some grant funding that we would like to dedicate towards the purchase of a piece of public art. $10,000 of our money for this sculpture came from a grant from UPS. We also utilized money from the Community Foundation's Run for the Money, as well as the Council for Mayors. So our job got started fairly easy about a year ago. So we've been meeting as a committee for about a year. We started out with a request for qualifications with the North Carolina Arts Council. We had 13 proposals submitted from North Carolina artists. From those 13, our committee unanimously narrowed down our selection to one, to Mr. Harry McDaniel. So we were thrilled to have that unanimous selection of the kinetic tree, which Harry has created for us. This was his first venture, if you will, into a kinetic sculpture. So it's provided a lot of interesting opportunities for him over the summer in the creation and then in the installation. And we were very fortunate that we were able to take a field trip, if you will, up to Asheville to visit Harry in his studio to actually see the process and see the construction of the beautiful structure. We think that this tree, this kinetic tree, represents Keep Gastonia Beautiful so well because we're on our 10th year run to be a tree city. So we're very pleased with the selection of the tree. It is our hope and our dream that this sculpture will help draw interest to the downtown area and that we can help provide a peaceful, tranquil location for folks to come to our downtown city center and have a relaxing lunch. I know when Harry was here today doing some final tweaks, there were several of us that were having a relaxing afternoon while we were watching Dennis and Mike hard at work creating the magic around the base of the sculpture. So I do want to thank Dennis and Mike and his staff for doing such a wonderful job getting everything ready. So it is my true pleasure to introduce Mr. Harry McDaniel, our creator of Ghillie Enchantment.
I make sculptures better than I make speeches, so this will be short. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today, and in particular I'd like to thank Keep Gastonia Beautiful and the Public Art Selection Committee for giving me the opportunity to create this sculpture. When I first came to visit Gastonia and talk with the committee, I was excited by this site. I felt like this would be a great place for a sculpture, and I'm really pleased for the opportunity. In particular, I'd like to thank Pat Johnson. She's been the person I've worked with the most, and it's been a pleasure to work with her. Also, Catherine and Missy, they gave me my initial tour and sort of helped get me started on the creative process to design this piece. But I appreciate the efforts of the whole committee and the various city employees who've been involved in landscaping and helping me with digging the hole to get the footing in the ground there. Let's see. Well, the title, Ghillie Enchantment, is a reference to trees, and in trying to, well, I guess, in designing this and working on the piece all along, I thought of it somewhat like an enchanted tree, because when there is wind, which we don't have much of tonight, it will have some very nice movement, and with the axes of the different pieces being offset, it's kind of an unpredictable, almost magical sort of movement. So I wanted to capture that somehow in the title, and the name Ghillie is, according to Scottish folklore, Ghillie was a guardian of trees, or a tree spirit, and so I sort of like that magical sort of reference in the title. I don't really have more to say. If anybody wants to ask me questions, I'd be happy to answer questions. And pass along the mic to the next person.
How long did it take to make?
Let's see. I guess I began doing design work, I think in May, and started actually physically constructing it at some point in June. And that's been my main pursuit ever since then.